All right, good morning, guys, and happy Monday. Welcome back to the grind. All right, quick sound check. Tony, Lorna, Mirza, Russ, my man, Russ. All right, guys, good to go. Good to go. So we got Nvidia earnings this week on Wednesday, and that'll be a big one for the market, I would imagine. We got this 3-day squeeze setting up, which is pretty close to being an A+ setup. Good trend, good structure. They are trying to fix that momentum. So the million-dollar question is, does Nvidia go higher or lower after earnings? If they go higher, I'd imagine a positive impact on the QQQ, on the semis, and then vice versa. If she takes a bit of a tumble, there could be a bit of a negative impact. So get the popcorn ready for Wednesday night. And then last week for the S&Ps, the QQQ, and the Dow, brand new all-time highs. And better yet, brand new daily buy signals. Which means for now, the trend, the structure, the momentum, supportive of the market going higher. And if we do get a pullback, which wouldn't be the craziest thing, we're a little bit extended up here at the 3 ATR extension. If we do get a bit of a pullback, things are pretty supportive of buying that dip. So until that changes, until we lose our daily buy signal, I got to look for higher prices. And then the QQQ, brand new high and brand new buy signals. The bigger story here for the Qs, I think, is this 3-day squeeze. It's not quite an A+ setup just yet. It could become one this week. Good trend, good structure. Only thing missing is momentum. And they're pretty close to getting that positive cross. If they can get that positive cross, at that point we get a buy signal. At that point, it turns into an A+ setup, at which point we have a path towards 465-ish. So to be determined, but the bulls are in control for now. And then let's go take a look at the small caps. The IWM, brand new daily buy signal, perfect score at 12. And then over here on the monthly chart, pretty good looking monthly squeeze. Bull momentum above the trailing stop, bull structure, bull trend, buy signal, and the perfect score. So that one is A+. And it's a monthly chart, right? So it's not going to unfold in a week. It's not going to unfold in a month. So long as you have a squeeze and a buy signal, there could be a path here towards 240, 250, if and when that squeeze fires. So I think into the summer, into the fall, that could be a big one. I'm a little tempted to buy the 240, 250 calls, for October, November, December, and just kind of sit on them. Put a few calls in my back pocket. And then the Dow Jones, the one and only Dow Jones, brand new buy signals, a little bit extended. Go check the weekly. They had a 1-dot weekly squeeze that just fired. And then on the monthly, they fired a monthly squeeze going back about 5 bars ago. A good squeeze can take you for about 8 to 10 bars, which would imply there could be room for a push towards 415 or higher. So for now, my friends, the indexes look pretty good. And I think a big part of that is the dollar. You go back about a month or so ago, the dollar here was pretty strong. Good structure, buy signals, all the above. Strength in the dollar, not the best thing for the equities market. Strong dollar usually means weaker S&P, weaker QQQ. And for now, the dollar's taken a bit of a chill pill. Momentum crosses bearish. Structure goes neutral. The trend goes neutral. and we've got no more daily buy signal. It is at big support, the daily 200 SMA. I'd like to think as long as the dollar stays down here, and we're not heading back towards that 106, 107, should continue to be a positive for the market. Alrighty, so there's a bigger picture. And then a couple setups for you. It was kind of an interesting weekend. I'm used to spending, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours every weekend doing my scans, looking at the stocks, going time frame to time frame. My entire prep process this weekend took about 15 minutes. Pulled up the watch list columns, went through a few different watch lists, and yeah, pretty straightforward. The columns do the work for me. So a few that I like for this week: Hood, MRK. Where are the others here? CCJ and Spotify. We've got calls in Merck, so we'll do Merck first. And MRK is A plus on the 3-day time frame, the daily time frame, and the 1 hour. The big Merck, 1 hour chart, bull momentum, bull structure, bull trend, a squeeze, a buy signal, A plus setup. And that little yellow dot, or yellow, that little white dot means we have an active A plus setup. If that can fire, that can trigger a move towards 132, 133. If they can fire that 1 hour squeeze, then they can work on that daily squeeze, which also has perfect trend, perfect structure, and momentum. That calls for a move towards 134, 135. If they can fire that daily squeeze, then they can work on the 3-day squeeze. Also A plus, and that calls for a push towards 139-ish. We'll call it 140. So we're playing the daily squeeze, and we've got the 135 calls for the June expiration. If we can catch a push towards 134 and change, that'll do the trick. Should be good for, I don't know, 70 to 80% profit. So we are long MRK, and next up is going to be Spotify. So as far as the daily chart, not quite A plus, although it's pretty damn close. Big three score of 10, a respectable score, good trend, good structure. They got to get that momentum cross. If you have good trend and good structure, but no momentum, that's like a Ferrari with no gas. Beautiful car, nice to look at in the driveway. No gasolina means you're going nowhere. If they can take that squeeze histogram, pull that through zero, then you've got bull momentum, and then you've got the big three. At which point, that shapes up for a move back towards 320-ish. For the time being, though, we do have the A plus squeeze here off the 4 hour. That can trigger a push towards 310 to 312. Around that 310 to 312, they should get that cross here on daily momentum. Then you've got an A plus daily squeeze. So keep an eye on Spot. We'll see if Spot can run. And then next up is CCJ. Now, the one thing I don't like is the entry. Much, much better entry would have been Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of last week. The goal is you find the A plus squeeze, you buy right near that 21 EMA, then you play for a push towards that big green line. I do think I'm a little bit late, but maybe I'll catch a bit of a dip. Maybe I'll be fortunate enough to catch a dip. So A plus daily squeeze, A plus on the 15-minute squeeze, A plus on the 2-day squeeze, and A plus on the weekly. A good example of that combination, 2, 3, 4 different time frames, all printing an A plus setup at once. Nvidia from last week. I think it was Tuesday. Let me see. May 14th. Yeah, so Tuesday. 30-minute A plus squeeze. Inside of an hourly A plus squeeze, got the little white dot inside of a 2-hour A plus squeeze. The best thing about that, price was under that 650 or 950 rather call wall. If you follow the spot gamma call wall, the call wall can be big resistance. It can also be a big magnet. So about 30, 40 bucks below that 950, you get that 2-hour, 30-minute, 1-hour squeeze. They all fire to the upside one after the other, kicking off the move towards that call wall. So a good example of the nested squeeze magic. So CCJ, I think, is all around pretty solid. And the daily squeeze calls for a move towards 56. The weekly squeeze calls for a move towards 58-ish. And then a few more for you. One being Broadcom. Now, keep in mind, anything semiconductor related could be impacted for better or worse by Nvidia. So definitely be mindful of that. But for Broadcom here, brand new weekly squeeze, and it all checks out. Perfect score of 12. Buy signal, trend, structure, momentum. All of the pretty colors. Although they have earnings on the 10th. So that'll be what? 1, 2. It's about 3 weeks and change. The question is 3 weeks and change enough time to find a good entry and then catch a push towards that $1,600 target? It could be enough time. But again, I think it'll all come down to Nvidia. So I like Broadcom, and then I think I got a few more for you. Oh yeah, the hood. Let me take you to the hood. Very nice 4-hour squeeze last week. Big push. And now we have the daily squeeze setting up. Not quite A+, it's a bit more neutral. So I'm not too in love with that daily squeeze, but I do like the 3-day squeeze. If they can take out the highs here, that could be good for a push towards 22 and change. So hood, CCJ, Spotify, MRK, Broadcom, and then let me show you Netflix real quick. All right, so Netflix has a slingshot squeeze on the 3-day, the 2-hour, the 1-hour, and the 5-minute. Slingshot meaning it's not quite an A+ setup just yet, but it might be pretty close. Therefore, you keep an eye on it. If we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, brand new 4-hour squeeze. If we drop down to the 2-hour time frame, pretty neutral. Right? Neutral trend, neutral structure, bear momentum. Over here on the 1-hour, very close to being A+. Good trend, good structure. They just got to get momentum. And if we zoom in here a bit, it's basically at the 0 line, which means one more little nudge higher. We get our positive cross. We get bull momentum. Then that turns into an A+ 1-hour squeeze. Another one to keep an eye on. And that is that, guys. Aside from those setups, we've got a lot of 3-day squeezes. I showed you Nvidia. We've got one in, of course, the QQQ. We've got one in Amazon. Now, Amazon has a lot of squeezes, a lot of them. A 3-day, a 2-day, a 4 hour, a 2 hour, a 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute. They're all very neutral. Not overly bullish, not overly bearish. That can make it tough to call for an immediate direction. My thinking would be if the QQQ keeps pushing higher, for conversation's sake, they take the 3-day squeeze of the QQQ, and eventually they kick off a push towards 465. The odds would favor Amazon wants to go higher. Not a guarantee, but probabilities wise, a strong QQQ should help an Amazon go higher. So I think at some point there could be a path here towards 195, 200 out of that 3-day squeeze. At the moment, I've got no trigger to buy it. 2 hour, 1 hour sell signal, no buy signals, no A plus setup. Amazon's a bit more on the back burner. And then we got another 3-day squeeze in Microsoft. Little bit neutral, not too close to a fresh cross. But I think in due time, that could be good for a move towards 450. So I'm going to watch those develop. The Microsofts, the Amazons, and then in the meantime, focus on the MRKs, the CCJs, etc. Alrighty, guys. So any questions, anything you want to take a look at, put it in the chat, and I got you covered. Quick look here at the futures. S&P futures are flat with a 4-hour squeeze. Let's go check that out. All right, brand spanking new 4-hour squeeze. Bull trend, bull structure. Got to get momentum. And then the QQQ futures. A brand new 4-hour squeeze. All right, a little bit interesting. So the fact it's a brand new squeeze would imply things might need a bit more time to trade sideways. Good example is the 4-hour squeeze back here. That squeeze printed for about 4 or 5 days. Then you got the push higher. Given the fact that we're one dot in, that might point towards a bit more sideways chop. And then eventually maybe a push higher. So we'll see how it goes. And then the only other thing worth mentioning, quick look here at the economic calendar. We are jam-packed with Fed speakers all week. Got a few this morning. We've got a few tomorrow. We got the Fed minutes on Wednesday. Jobless claims on Thursday. A few more Fed speakers and a few more on Friday. All kinds of fun things. But all right, I'll get caught up in the chat and I'll see what you got. 25 minutes before kickoff. Ronnie, good morning, Ronnie. General Electric. All right, so we'll do it this way. Let me get a new watch list going. Monday morning. All right, GE. What say you, GE? All right, so right off the rip, no A plus setups, which for me at this point means I wouldn't trade it. I can only trade that A plus setup. Let's go check the daily. For the most part, it's very neutral. Neutral means indecisive. Neutral means a lack of clarity. Big three score of three. No buy signal, no sell signal. Neutral trend, neutral structure, bear momentum. That can make it tough to call for an immediate direction. Where again, a CCJ does not mean the trade works, but we're playing a probabilities game. A plus setup, the perfect score of 12, bull trend, bull structure, bull momentum. Probabilities wise, we can call for a push higher. If the chart was the opposite, negative score, negative 12, sell signal, bear trend, bear structure, doesn't mean it has to go lower, but probabilities wise, we can call for a move lower. So when your daily chart is really neutral, you can find your clarity on a lower time frame. Right? That could be a 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour kind of thing. And then down here on the 1 hour, it's a little bit more bearish, but I wouldn't call it the perfect short. No squeeze, neutral structure, neutral trend, and they got a little support here at that 200 SMA. So I think until you get a bit more clarity from that daily chart, it makes GE a little bit of a tough read. Good morning, Claudia, my good friend. Netflix is in the news. Oh, I'm sorry, I misread that. Is Netflix A plus on the new big three? Um, almost. Right, structure, momentum looks good. The one little thing missing here is more trend. Notice how that 50 SMA isn't trending higher. We want the 21, the 50, and the 200 to trend higher for a perfect trend score. So in comparison, maybe a CCJ. That's a slightly better example. 21 EMA pointing higher, the 50 pointing higher, and that 200. But I would love to trade Netflix. So a little bit more of a push, and that should be perfect. And PGR on the weekly and the monthly for long term. Good morning, Ann. PGR. All right, the monthly. Woo. Very bullish. Very bullish. The one thing I would add, though, it had an A plus squeeze back here. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 white dots. The squeeze fired, and now they're above the target. The 3 ATR target. That can make taking a new entry a little bit tough. We're again thinking in terms of probabilities from time frame to time frame. The easy part of the move is usually the move from that 21 EMA towards the upside target. When price hits the upside target, it can keep going higher, but now there's this growing probability that sometime soon it's got to take a bit of a breather. That might mean a little bit of chop. That can mean a pullback to a 21 EMA. I think a much better entry, of course, hindsight, of course, would have been back here in that beautiful monthly squeeze. And then if we check the weekly, yeah, it's a great looking monthly and a great looking weekly. But if I were buying it up here, I'd buy it with the understanding I might sit through a bit of a pullback first. We hit our monthly target, we hit the weekly target. Price might need to come back a little bit before they can turn the corner and take out those highs. But as far as the signals, the trend, the structure, as bullish as possible. Aaron, ADP. Good morning, Aaron. Yeah, ADP came up on the scans this weekend. Let me see. A plus weekly squeeze, almost an A plus 3-day squeeze, and an A plus daily squeeze, which I have to like. The one thing I don't love, and I might be nitpicking here, very, very choppy trade. All right, they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down. With that being said, though, they've got the fresh cross. They've got a brand new buy signal. They got a perfect score at 12. That might be the combination needed to get it out of that choppy range. If anything can do that, it should be that signal. So I gotta like it. I gotta like it. All right, AT&T. Check my board here. Come on. All right, AT&T. A few squeezes weekly, 3-day, 4-hour, 2-hour, 1-hour, 30-minute. The only one that's A plus for now is the 30. If we check the 4, good squeeze. We have a buy signal, but the trend and the structure a little bit neutral. Not bearish, not bullish, but a little bit neutral. So what I would do for now is anchor to your 30-minute time frame, because that one's got it going on. Good momentum, good structure, good trend, all the above. I'd focus on that 30-minute with the understanding there's bigger time frame squeezes. So therefore, if they can take that 30-minute squeeze, fire that to the upside, that could wake up the 4-hour. If they can fire the 4-hour to the upside, that can wake up the 3-day time frame, etc., etc. And then the only other thing I would add, very big level of resistance right here. The 200 SMA off the 3-day time frame. Basically all year long, that's been a bit of a brick wall. They spank it lower, they spank it lower. And now on the third go around, to be determined. All right, folks on YouTube, Popcorn, what's up, Popcorn? Spotify hit 305. Yeah, you're right. Little gaparoo here. So 305-ish. That keeps it in the buy zone. Not too extended. Granted, it's always cooler, I think, to buy it right on top of that 21 EMA. But 304, 305-ish. I don't think we're chasing if we buy it up there. We'll see how she opens. God's will, my man, good morning. Always good to see you, brother. Entertain me now. ACN. ACN. All right, nothing A plus on ACN. Let's go check the 4-hour. All right, so we got a 4-hour slingshot squeeze. The orange arrow means you have a squeeze. You have bear trend, bear structure, but bull momentum. Even though we have bull momentum, that might be heading back down towards the 0 line for potentially a negative cross. At which point that becomes an A plus setup. So kind of the opposite of the Amazon or Nvidia 3-day squeeze. Bull trend, bull structure, bear momentum, but they're trying to pull momentum up for a positive cross. So the 4-hour on ACN is kind of the opposite. URA is next. Euro Euro. All right, I like it. I like it. A plus weekly, 3-day, 2-day for the Euro. Weekly squeeze, very nice. Good stuff. 3-day squeeze. Good stuff. 2-day squeeze. That's a daily chart. Here's our 2-day. Yeah, I like it. And again, think of that Nvidia example. Nvidia had a 30-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour A plus setup. One after the other, they all fired long. That triggered a pretty good push. So for URA here, same idea on a bigger time frame. 2-day squeeze fires, 3-day squeeze fires, the weekly squeeze fires. That can give you a move towards that $35+ target. I like it. Good call out. All right, Joe's got Generac. Got about 10 more minutes here, guys. Generac. Throw it on the board. GNRC. Alrighty. 15-minute and 2-day A plus. With a pretty good looking weekly squeeze. All right, 2-day. Oh, this is AT&T. My bad. There we go. It's more like it. Yeah, good looking 2-day squeeze. I like the setup. I don't love the entry. If I buy it at 145, I've got about $10 of upside towards my target. If I buy it at 145, my 21 EMA is about $10 or $12 lower. So as far as the equity goes, and I think a lot of us are buying the options, but as far as the equity goes, there's about a 1-to-1 risk reward. If I do a call debit spread or buy some calls, the risk reward won't be that straightforward. But I like the setup. Good looking daily chart and a very nice 15-minute squeeze. Very solid. All right, Valero and Chevron. Let's see, Valero, Chevron. All right, so nothing A plus on Chevron just yet. And on Valero, we're A plus on the monthly chart. Now, here's a tricky thing about energy. And I've got some XLE calls. I got XLE calls for August. The tricky thing is you have a beautiful monthly chart. It's perfect, like momentum, structure, trend, buy signal, squeeze. If we drop down to our daily time frame, it's very neutral. Great looking monthly squeeze. The lower time frames, at least for now, not really supportive just yet of a huge push higher out of that monthly squeeze. Where the preference is, all right, I got a perfect monthly squeeze, and then my daily chart looks something like this. Buy signal, good trend, good structure, good momentum. Now I can take that monthly squeeze with my lower time frames confirming the same move. So in my opinion, the way I would play energy, August, September, October calls, out the money. Go out the money, give them plenty of time, let the lower time frames shape up a bit more, and then eventually try to catch a push higher out of that beautiful monthly squeeze. Same thing for EOG. Great monthly, very neutral daily. Until the daily chart looks like this, the bulls can't do too much of that monthly squeeze. So August, September, October expiration, cheaper out the money calls. Sit on them, and you let it unfold. All right, guys, let me scroll through here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Ivan, yeah, let's go take a look at the big Google. Google had a great 4-hour squeeze last week. Never really offered a great entry. It wasn't A plus until prices up here. But I think Google's one of the best looking names in the market. Big three score of 12 on the monthly, 12 on the weekly, 12 on the daily. It's a matter of finding a spot to buy it. And for me, that spot would be pretty much any lower time frame squeeze. From a 15-minute up to a 30, a 1 hour, a 2 hour, a 4 hour. And I think you keep on doing that until it all stops working. Heading into today, though, nothing setting up just yet. 15-minute. Right. Good structure, good trend. They got to get that momentum cross. But yeah, I think for Google, any lower time frame squeeze could be good for a push higher. It's a really, really solid name right now. All right, guys, a couple more, and then we'll wrap it up here. We got Visa. V. All right, Visa. Anything on the Visa? Nothing A plus, but a couple of slingshot squeezes on the weekly, the 3-day, and the 2-day. A lot like that Nvidia 3-day squeeze. Bull trend, bull structure. They got to get bull momentum. Kind of like back here. Momentum crosses negative, then it crosses positive, and then Visa is off to the races. It's the only thing missing. Maurice, good morning, my friend. NDAQ. Throw that on the board. NDAQ. The 3-day time frame. Yeah, that's nice. Solid 3-day squeeze. Trend, structure, momentum. Above the trailing stop. Squeeze, buy signal. A plus. I like it. And then Disney, good morning, Star. Disney, let's take a peek here. All right, Disney, 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute. If we check the 1 hour, the 1 hour leans a bit more bearish. Negative 10 on the scoreboard. Bear trend, bear structure, bull momentum. So it leans a bit bearish, but I wouldn't short it. I wouldn't short it because it's not an A plus setup. If we check the 30, the dirty 30, I wouldn't short that either. Bear trend, bear structure with bull momentum above the trailing stop. Therefore, not an A plus setup. So I think Disney needs to give us a little bit more clarity. A little bit more clarity. And then LVS. I'll throw the last few on the board here. And I'll read them off to you. LVS, Oracle, and ISRG. Oops. ISRG. Okay, nothing home on Oracle. Nothing is A plus on LVS. And on ISRG, you've got an A plus 1 hour. Therefore, I would anchor to the 1 hour. But all right, guys, market opens in about 4 minutes here. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to heat up my coffee. And it is time to party. One more look at the futures. Flat S&Ps and a flat NQ. Not too much action here for the futures. And again, like I mentioned, I love the fact we got brand new daily buy signals. But in the short term, we are a little bit extended. There might be room for a bit of a pullback. There might be room for a bit of a choppy sideways market. And then eventually you look for a turn higher. So be patient this week. A little bit extended, a lot of Fed speakers, and then none bigger than Nvidia earnings on Wednesday. I think a few different reasons to be patient. But all right, y'all, thank you for tuning in as always. For those of you in the Essentials room, I'll see you again at 10:30 a.m. Central, and we'll keep the party going. For those of you on the YouTube, I'll see you tomorrow morning, same time, same channel.